What's up everyone and welcome back to MMA Buzz. A newly surfaced video has reignited one of MMA's most talked about moments. The infamous brawl between Khamzat Chimaev and Khabib Nurmagomedov's cousin, Abubakar Nurmagomedov. This unseen angle gives fans a completely fresh perspective, showing how close Khabib himself came to joining the chaos. The footage focuses entirely on Khabib's reaction as the scuffle erupts. In the original clips, all eyes were on Chimaev attacking Abubakar, but this version captures the tension from another side. As the fight breaks out, Khabib climbs halfway up the cage, his eyes locked on Chimaev below. He pauses, visibly conflicted, ready to defend his cousin but aware of the consequences if he steps in. The hesitation on his face says everything. For a brief second he looks away, spotting Abubakar shouting insults at Chimaev, and realizes exactly what's happening. What's striking is just how close we were to witnessing Khabib himself jump into the brawl. It was only a matter of seconds before the situation could have exploded into a full-blown Khabib vs Chimaev clash, something the MMA world still debates to this day. Those who understand the culture of the Caucasus know how deeply loyalty runs among them. Standing by your brother in a fight is not just expected, it's a way of life. That's what made this moment so tense. One wrong move, and it could have turned into a legendary confrontation between two of the sport's fiercest warriors. On the fight front, Khamzat Chimaev is expected to face either Nasruddin Imavov or the winner of Rainier de Ridder vs Brendan Allen at UFC Vancouver. De Ridder recently discussed the situation, revealing his motivation for staying on the Vancouver card. He explained that he wanted to keep his spot because of the potential to fight Chimaev before Ramadan, which falls in February. "I wanted to stay ready," De Ridder said. "They talked about pushing the fight with Fluffy to a later date, but I told them to find a new opponent. I just wanted to stay active so I could get a shot at Khamzat in January." Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way, you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier recently shared his take on the UFC's featherweight division, and as always, he didn't hold back. During a new episode of ESPN's Good Guy, Bad Guy, Cormier broke down the current state of the division and played matchmaker for its top contenders. With the featherweights more stacked than ever, he believes now is the perfect time to shake things up. One of the biggest new names entering the mix is Youssef Zal. After putting together an impressive win streak, Zal has officially broken into the top 10, bringing even more firepower to an already loaded division. Cormier highlighted Zal's rise while pointing out Movsar Evlov's inactivity, suggesting that the undefeated English fighter needs to stay active. "The perfect matchup for him right now is Zal," DC said. "Zal's slick grappling and creativity make him an intriguing test. Still, as Cormier noted, Evlov's grappling has already been tested against some of the best in the sport. He owns wins over elite ground specialists like Aljamain Sterling and Diego Lopes, both known for their dangerous submission games. Evlov's most recent victory came in December 2024 against Sterling, solidifying his place as one of the division's most consistent forces. Cormier then turned his attention to the title picture, naming Lerone Murphy as his frontrunner for the next championship opportunity. Murphy remains undefeated and is coming off a massive knockout victory over Aaron Pico. "For me, the title fight should be Volkanovski versus Lerone Murphy," Cormier said. "Murphy has done everything right and deserves his shot." He also proposed another high-stakes matchup, Diego Lopes versus Yair Rodriguez. "That fight is personal," DC explained. "They have history, and fans would absolutely tune in. Plus, the winner could easily become the #1 contender." Cormier continued his matchmaking by pairing Evlov against Zal, believing that fight could determine the next big featherweight name. "If Zal beats Evlov, he cements himself as a real contender," he said. "But if Evlov wins again, you move him straight into a title shot. You can't deny someone who's been that dominant." Finally, Cormier addressed Aljamain Sterling's position in the division. Despite his success, DC believes Sterling should serve as the backup fighter for now, ready to step in if any matchup falls apart. Move on to another news. Josh Thompson recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming clash between Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot, and according to him, many fans are seriously underestimating D.O. Bronx. While much of the MMA community believes Oliveira is returning too soon after his brutal knockout loss to Ilia Topuria just a few months ago, Thompson insists that the former lightweight champion still has all the tools to make a powerful comeback and remind the world why he was once the most feared finisher in the division. Gamrot, on the other hand, is known for his relentless pace and chain wrestling. His high-pressure style makes him a difficult matchup for anyone, and this fight is shaping up to be a technical, grappling-heavy war. However, as Thompson points out, out, this won't be the kind of grappling match that bores fans. Both Oliveira and Gamrot thrive in chaos and constantly push the action. For Oliveira, this fight represents redemption. He's eager to prove that the loss to Topuria was just a setback, not a downfall. He's even hinted at calling out Max Holloway for the BMF title if he gets past Gamrot, a move that would put him back in the spotlight. But first, he faces a massive challenge in the Polish powerhouse. Gamrot already holds a victory over Arman Tsarukyan, and a win over Oliveira would send shockwaves through the lightweight division, establishing him as a legitimate contender for the belt. Thompson, however, isn't convinced that Gamrot has enough to overcome the Brazilian. People are writing Charles off too soon, he explained. We saw Arman Tsarukyan barely survive multiple submission attempts when he fought Charles. On the ground, Oliveira is still one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. He acknowledged Gamrot's elite wrestling, but questioned whether it would be enough. Gamrot just needs to get over that hump, Thompson said. Beating Charles could be that moment for him, but I don't know if he has all the tools to survive Oliveira's striking and submission game. If I'm leaning toward anyone, it's Charles. Thompson admitted that the quick turnaround after the Topuria knockout could be a concern, but he remains confident in Oliveira's skill set. Charles is the better striker, hands down. He's the better submission artist, hands down. Sure, Gamrot is the better wrestler, but when you look at the complete picture, Oliveira still holds the edge. Move on to another news. Alex Pereira's recent call-out for a heavyweight super fight with Jon Jones has sent shockwaves through the MMA world, raising questions about what's truly next for the two-division champion. While many fans dream of the Pereira versus Jones showdown, others are wondering if the real challenge could come from the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane at UFC 321. That matchup too would be monumental. However, Pereira has made his intentions clear. He wants only Jon Jones at heavyweight. Still, stylistically, both potential fights present fascinating possibilities. Against Aspinall, Pereira would face an all-around threat. Elite grappling, explosive speed, and fight IQ that could truly test the Brazilian's ground defense. But against Cyril Gane, things get even more intriguing. Gane, known for his fluid striking and footwork, shares a similar style to Pereira, which could set the stage for one of the most technical stand-up battles in UFC history. In a recent interview, Gane revealed that he's entering this fight with a completely renewed mindset. Calm, focused, and determined, the French heavyweight believes he's finally ready to claim the undisputed title. I'm confident for this fight, Gane said. I don't want to think about what happens afterward. I'm focused on the belt. I gave everything during this camp. Everyone already knows my strengths. I move very well. I manage distance well. And my striking is high level. This time, I'm going to use all of that to achieve my goal. He went on to emphasize how much his mentality has evolved since his last few performances. This is a different mindset, Gane added. I'm not focused on social media or what people say outside. My attention is only on my family, my friends, my team, and my target, the belt. Every single day is about training, training, training. If Gane manages to defeat Aspinall and secure the heavyweight title, the possibility of a striking masterclass between him and Pereira would be electrifying. Both men possess elite precision, timing, and fight IQ, and their clash could become one of the most technically brilliant matchups in modern UFC history. Move on to another news. Raja Jackson, the son of former UFC legend Rampage Jackson, has officially pleaded not guilty to multiple charges related to his altercation with content creator Seiko Stu. The incident, which took place earlier this year, has drawn widespread attention across the MMA community. According to MMA Fighting, Raja Jackson appeared in court on Thursday to enter his plea, facing both felony and misdemeanor battery charges. These charges stem from an alleged physical confrontation that resulted in significant injuries to Seiko Stu.aa. Jackson had previously been released on bail after his initial arrest in September, but was required to return for this week's hearing to formally respond to the allegations. If convicted, Jackson could face a serious sentence, potentially up to 7 years in prison. The charges include what MMA Fighting described as a sentencing enhancement for reportedly inflicting great bodily injury. This enhancement applies when the victim suffers severe physical harm, and in this case, reports claim that Seiko Stu sustained multiple facial fractures and lost several teeth during the altercation. Following the incident, Seiko Stu was hospitalized and has since been recovering from his injuries. Meanwhile, Raja Jackson has maintained silence on the matter. Aside from his brief and emotional reaction on Kick shortly after the event, he has avoided making any further public statements. His legal team has also declined to comment, citing the ongoing nature of the case. The situation has sparked heated debate among fans online, some defending Raja as acting in self-defense, while others have condemned the alleged violence. As the case moves forward, both sides are expected to present their versions of the story, and more details about what exactly transpired that night may soon emerge in court. Raja Jackson's next court date is expected to be scheduled in the coming weeks, where the judge will determine whether the case will proceed to trial. For now, Jackson remains free on bail, awaiting the next legal steps in what has become one of the most talked about controversies in recent MMA news. Move on to another news. The UFC didn't want Merab Dvalishvili to be a champion. Despite Merab Dvalishvili's dominant year as the bantamweight king, defending his title 3 times in 2025, there was a time when the UFC wasn't exactly rooting for him to wear the gold. According to his coach, John Wood, the promotion initially had reservations about Dvalishvili's style and marketability, but over time, Merab has completely transformed into one of the most entertaining and relentless fighters in the sport. In a recent interview with Mike Bowen, Wood revealed that the UFC did not want that guy to be champion. They really did. He explained that, years ago, Dvalishvili's wrestling-heavy approach wasn't seen as fan-friendly. However, Merab has since evolved, showing striking improvements and finishing ability that few expected. 10 fights ago, Wood continued, no one would have guessed he'd be almost knocking guys out or submitting fighters like Sean O'Malley, and running through opponents who were supposed to be taller, stronger, and more skilled. He's just doing special things right now. It's true, Dvalishvili's evolution has been remarkable. From being labeled a grinding wrestler to now dominating elite strikers and finishing fights with high intensity, he's proven that persistence and discipline can rewrite any narrative. His insane cardio, relentless pressure, and improved striking have turned him into a nightmare matchup for anyone in the division. While there's still no official confirmation from the UFC, rumors are swirling that Dvalishvili could return for UFC 323, set to take place on December 6th. The champion has already made it clear that he intends to use his championship privilege to secure a spot on that card, eager to close out the year with yet another statement victory. Once seen as a grinder, the UFC didn't want headlining events. Merab Dvalishvili is now one of the most respected and active champions in the promotion. His journey from overlooked contender to dominant title holder perfectly reflects his nickname, The Machine. Move on to another news. Mike Tyson recently opened up about why he never considered joining the UFC, and his answer makes perfect sense. During an interview with Fat Joe, the boxing legend took aim at the UFC's pay structure, explaining that the financial rewards in mixed martial arts simply couldn't compare to what he earned in boxing. When Fat Joe asked if Tyson would have been a UFC fighter in his prime, Tyson immediately shut the idea down. He said, "The biggest UFC fighters, 5 of them combined, still can't match my pay. It just wasn't worth it. I wanted to be the biggest fighter, make the biggest purse, and have everything that came with being number 1. Tyson's response highlights a long-standing issue that continues to divide combat sports fans: the drastic pay gap between boxing and MMA. Even today, some of the UFC's most recognizable champions earn a fraction of what top-tier boxers make per fight. Tyson, who was the highest-paid fighter of his era, earned tens of millions of dollars per bout, something nearly unheard of in the UFC. Known for his brutal power, magnetic personality, and cultural dominance, Tyson became a global phenomenon, a level of stardom that allowed him to demand record-breaking purses. By contrast, UFC fighters, despite competing on massive stages, remain limited by promotional contracts and lack of revenue-sharing protections similar to boxing's Ali Act. After Tyson's comments went viral, combat sports attorney Eric McGracken weighed in on X, formerly Twitter, saying, "Well said, Mike. That's thanks to the Ali Act. Protect the Ali Act. Expand the Ali Act. Please sign the petition." McGracken's response underscores how the Ali Act, which was designed to protect boxers from exploitative contracts, does not currently apply to MMA athletes, leaving them with less control over their careers and income. For Tyson, it wasn't just about fighting, it was about value. He wanted legacy, wealth, and power, all of which boxing gave him in abundance. His message was clear: if you're putting your life on the line in combat sports, you deserve to be paid accordingly. Move on to another news. Demetrious Johnson and Dylan Danis recently traded trash talk and wagers on Johnson's YouTube channel, generating buzz after Danis claimed he could beat top MMA talent, including Khamzat Chimaev. Fresh off a 15-second submission of Warren Spencer in his return to MMA, Danis sounded confident and unapologetic about his ambitions. During the conversation, Danis asserted he could beat elite fighters across divisions. Johnson, skeptical but amused, challenged his claims and proposed a wager. Johnson said he would put up $10,000 on Chimaev to win, while Danis countered by increasing the stakes and flirting with higher bets. The two briefly discussed odds and the reality that Danis must first earn the right to face fighters at the highest level. Despite the bravado, both men enjoyed the back and forth, Johnson for entertainment value and Danis to underline his belief in his own potential. Technically, Danis emphasized that beating someone like Chimaev would require elite jiu-jitsu and the ability to avoid being ragdoll. He pointed to examples in the division, noting that only a handful of fighters possess the guard and submission skill needed to threaten top heavyweights and middleweights. Danis mentioned reinforcements like Reinier de Ridder as styles that could realistically challenge certain opponents, while insisting he could submit Chimaev from his back if given the chance. Outside the cage, Danis' reputation for controversy appears to have limited his UFC prospects. He revealed he once offered to appear on The Ultimate Fighter, but UFC executive Hunter Campbell allegedly rejected the idea, fearing Danis' volatile behavior would cause disruption. Danis acknowledged past incidents, including a notorious altercation during the Logan buildup when he struck someone with a microphone, yet argued those moments were reactions to provocation and part of his persona. Although Danis is only 3-0 as a professional and has fought sparingly over the last 5 years, he suggested new bouts are on the horizon. While no official return date has been announced, rumors exchange him with a potential crossover fight against strongman-turned-fighter Eddie Hall in late 2025 or early 2026. For now, Danis remains a polarizing figure, a skilled grappler with limited activity and a knack for generating headlines, while Johnson continues to use his platform to create entertaining content and bold prop bets that keep the MMA community talking.